Bad, Zavyn, a 7th grade challenge student at Orchard Mesa Middle School, speaks about the devastating, ongoing situation in Mauritania, slavery. As he brings you along for the story of how slavery came to be in Mauritania, he tells why it is still a problem and what everyone can do to help.
Humans, for the longest time, believed that some people were inherently better than others. A very large factor of why was because of who they were, whether that be religion, skin color, or gender. Because of this, people took advantage of others. A very big example of this advantage taking came in the form of slavery. But thankfully, slavery doesn't exist anymore, right? I mean, America abolished it in 1865 with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, and so did many other countries around the same time. But what if I told you that enslaved people are still being exploited by their masters, being forced to work their lives away? You'd probably think I'm crazy. But first, before you point at me saying that my pants are on fire, which they are not, let me give you a little insight on the background of slavery in the modern-day African country, Mauritania. First of all, where is Mauritania? Mauritania is a country located in northwestern Africa along the coast of the Atlantic. It is mostly flat and also mostly made up of the Sahara Desert. In the 3rd to 7th century, Arab and Berber tribes from North Africa migrated south, and in the process, they pushed out the native Bafour and Soninke tribes. These indigenous tribes, in the process of being pushed out of their own land, were either pushed to the Senegal River or enslaved. Not even 2 minutes into this talk, and we already have an example of slavery. Sure, it's not like it was uncommon back then, but my point still stands. People should not be treated as tools. Now, jumping ahead to a 500-year period in the 11th century to 16th century, where the Arabs that migrated down to Mauritania came to overcome the Berber people that migrated alongside them. One very big example of this came in the 30-Year War, which took place from 1644 to 1674, where the Berber people failed to repel the Makil Arab tribes led by the Bani Hassan tribe. This overall is how Moorish culture emerged in Mauritania. However, Moorish culture soon was divided into two classes, white Moors and black Moors. White Moors were the descendants of the Hassan warriors that fought and took over Mauritania, and the black Moors were the minority, the indigenous and enslaved people who were originally there. The white Moors, unsurprisingly, were the upper class society. It is also worthy to note the European intervention that occurred around this time. In 1442, Portuguese sailors rounded Cape Blanco, and later, in 1448, they founded Fort Arguin, where they obtained gold, gum arabic, notable for its later use in textile manufacturing, and slaves. These same things later drew in the Spaniards, then the Dutch, and the French. Speaking of France, the Berlin Conference was a meeting between nations taking place from 1884 and 1885, with the main goal being to divide up Africa to different countries to colonize. France's share of Africa would include French West Africa, a combination of 8 French colonies that would later gain independence, those being Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger, Guinea, Benin, Senegal, Mali, and Mauritania. Mauritania's colonization started in the early 1900s and was formally colonized in 1904. Under French colonial rule, Mauritania's leaders declared an end to slavery in 1905, which was a great step forward, until they ended up declining to enforce this ban, as they, according to Arab Center DC, wanted to respect local traditions and the Mauritanian social fabric, while also protecting the local and colonial economies. I mean, come on, France. What are we doing? Well, while it is understandable from an economic standpoint why this decision was made, the aspect of human rights far outweighs these incentives. French colonial rule continued until November 28, 1960, when Mauritania officially gained independence. 21 years later, in 1981, slavery was abolished by presidential decree, making it the last country in the world to do so. However, that was not the end of it. Though it was abolished, it was very poorly enforced. So finally, in 2007, slavery was criminalized at last, and those guilty of it could be imprisoned for up to 20 years along with heavy charges. So, now you have a bit of insight on how slavery came to be in Mauritania. But now you may be wondering, if slavery is criminalized, then why is it still such a big problem? Well, long story short, the government of Mauritania just doesn't seem to care, and also denies the existence of it in the country. When confronted about slavery, Mauritania's Minister of Rural Development said this: "All people are free in Mauritania, and this phenomenon of slavery no longer exists." This obviously is not true. According to Human Rights Watch, it was estimated that approximately 90,000 people, or about 2.4% of the Mauritanian population, were living in modern slavery in 2018. Along with this, according to the 2020 Trafficking in Persons report, the Mauritanian government rarely prosecuted and imprisoned convicted slave owners. This is a huge problem. If the Mauritanian government doesn't acknowledge this glaring problem in their country, who will? Well, born on January 12, 1965, along with being the son of former slaves himself, Biram David is a very important figure when it comes to the topic of slavery in Mauritania. His parents were the descendants of the Haratin group. His dad was freed from slavery while still in the womb, and his mother was a slave. Despite living through poverty, his family managed to give him a proper education. So from a young age, Abid understood the problem of discrimination of the Black Moors, and by age 19, he officially began work on fighting inequity throughout Mauritania. He founded an organization called the National African Movement, and in 1993 ran as an independent candidate for municipal elections in Nouadhibou, Mauritania. In 2008, Abid founded the Initiative for the Resurgence of the Abolitionist Movement, IRA for short, with the main goal being to fight discrimination against Haratins in Mauritania and end slavery. However, the Mauritanian government has made many attempts to silence him. In 2010, he was arrested and tortured in response for speaking out in protest of the enslavement of a young girl. In 2011, he was arrested for allegedly assaulting police during a demonstration. That same year, he was injured along with others by Mauritanian police after sitting in front of a police brigade in the protest of employment of minors. And there are many other examples in later years. But despite this, he has run for Mauritanian president 3 times, being the runner-up for each one. Through his actions, Biram David was deemed the Nelson Mandela of Mauritania, and rightly so. His actions have contributed greatly to the cause of ending slavery once and for all, and along with it, discrimination against the heritage community. Sadly, however, discrimination continues in Mauritania. Forced labor continues through hereditary enslavement. And if nothing is done, the Mauritanian government will most likely continue to do nothing about the sirens blaring in their ears about the horrible conditions that many Mauritanians face. It's not like the people of Heritan origin chose to be born into Heritan lineage. There was nothing they could do about it, yet because of who they are, they are discriminated against and may be forced to do work for someone else. But we can help. One of the easiest yet most effective ways that we can help is to spread awareness about slavery in Mauritania. Tell your family, tell your friends. Go make a post on social media about it. Nobody should ever have to be treated unfairly because of who they are. Thank you.